Today we're going to be setting up this Vtech 2 handset cordless telephone with caller ID and call waiting. This is the model CS6114-2. This model was on the market for quite some time. It recently got replaced by the model VG101, I believe, which is a very good telephone. And it's more or less the same as this with the addition of a handset speakerphone. These do not have handset speakerphone. So these are, I don't know when this particular one was made, but this model is getting pretty old at this point. I believe it came out sometime in the early to mid 2010s. And I remember this telephone, this model, quite a bit back in the day. And since it's been so long since I first started collecting the telephones, I should say it's been so long, it's been a while, it's been long enough that a lot of things have changed. This is one of the models that actually brings back a lot of nostalgia to my earlier days of collecting telephones. So this, it's very basic. It's just 30 number directory, 30 number caller ID. It lists every single feature imaginable that it can do just to make it seem like it's exotic. Caller ID, call waiting, Deck 6, digital technology, backlit keypad and display, white backlit display. So that's actually different than what I remember. The ones that I remember had the green display, I think. 30 name and number phone book directory, easy to use wall mount, last 5 number redial, trilingual prompts, mute, any key answer, volume control, and redial. It still has a write-up about preventing eavesdropping, which really has not been a problem with cordless phones since the 90s. It has an aqueous coating, whatever the heck that is. Let's open this up and see what we got here. I believe this is new. Packaging is kind of cool. I found the first set of these that I owned back in 2016, 2017, somewhere in that era. I know I did a video of it, so we could go back and kind of get a better approximate of when that was. But I had bought it at a local tag sale. During that era, when I was in college, I worked, and I would often work on Saturday mornings. I could get an early shift on Saturday mornings where I worked, and I would do that because well, this I didn't do it because of this, but it worked out in the sense that the shift would end at 12 o'clock, a very early shift. And so, since the area where I worked was a very densely populated area, there was a lot of tag sales in a small area. And so I would often go like on Fridays, for example, if I had some time in between classes or whatever, I would go around some of the local streets and take note of the tag sale signs, and then the following day I after work, I would compile. Well, actually, well, okay, I did it during work because the job I had at the time, at least the Saturday shift, anyways, was like wasn't on call because I was in the building, but it was like an as-needed job, and so I ended up with a fair bit of downtime. So I would spend some time on the map trying to plot out the most efficient way to go to all the tag sales that I saw, or the signs I saw for them. And then there used to be a bunch of websites, I don't know if they still exist or not, but there used to be some websites that would talk about, well, they would talk about, it's not the right word, they would have listings of tag sales in the area. And so I would combine my searches on the website with the ones I had noted in person and kind of map out a route to take after work when I got off in regards to which sales I could visit. And if I did it well enough, I could end up hitting 4 or 5 sales. I was bound by time because a lot of them, at least around here, a lot of the sales tend to operate from 9 to 2. It's very standard timing. And so I didn't have a lot of time, but it was enough to visit a few. So I would do that, and at one of the sales I came across one of these phones, and it was hanging on the wall in a kitchen. In fact, the house had this telephone on the wall in the kitchen, and then it had a set of Panasonic phones, which is kind of funny because it was like the bottom of the barrel, which was this, and then fairly high end, which was the Panasonic. And the Panasonic phones were out for sale, I think, and this was still hanging on the wall. So I asked if I could buy it, and I was told that I could. So I took it off the wall and brought the telephones to the register. And this particular sale was one of the sales that was run by a company. It wasn't an individual sale. I don't know if these things exist in other parts of the country, but around here there's certain there's like sales stores, businesses, whatever you want to call them, that will let's just say, for example, somebody expires, whoever inherits the house can call one of these companies, and the company will come and just like host a tag sale inside the house and just clean everything out. And I would later learn to not bother with these sales because the people tend to be kind of outrageous that run it, and the prices tend to be outrageous. There was I think the worst instance, there was one I had gone to, and I was trying to buy a Vornado Swan fan, which is kind of a piece of junk. It's more of like a novelty or conversation piece. But I was sitting in line to check out from this sale, and I had the Vornado Swan fan with me, and there was a couple people ahead of me, and one of the people ahead of me had I think it was like a painting or something, and she showed it to the guy at the register, who should have been smacked, and the guy said it's like $300, something just totally outrageous. And the lady was like, that's really expensive, can we come down a little bit? And he said some snarky comment to her, and she just threw the painting at the guy and left. Oh gosh. That was great. And so a couple more people pass through, and then I get to the register, and I show the guy the fan, and I'm thinking like, $10-20 bucks maybe. He comes out with something nutty like $80-$100. I says no, it's just not. It's not worth that. And he's telling me, oh, that's 100 years old. Blah, blah, blah. And I turned the thing upside down. He says, here's the day code. It says 1996. And then shut him up real quick, and then he sold it to me for something much more reasonable. But back to these telephones, it was a similar experience. I had gotten to the register, and I was showing the lady the phones, and you can go back and watch the video, and you'll see that the phone was filthy, and it had wear on it. The battery probably was spoiled. And she comes up with some nutty price, and I says, that's kind of ridiculous, because the telephone sold for $12 at the time, and I think she wanted $8 for it. And I says, nah, that's too much. You know, it's all dirty and everything. And she says to me, I couldn't believe she said this. She says, well, he was a mechanic. He wasn't a clean man. It was so shocking to me. I remember just sitting there, just staring at her for several seconds in complete disbelief, because I don't know how in the world to respond to that. But I guess my silence must have spoke volumes, because she cut the price in like a quarter, and I walked away with the phone for a couple bucks. But yeah, that was how I bought the first one of these, and that experience was so outrageous to me, I still remember it to this day. So this does seem to be pretty much like the one that I remember. The ketone sounds a little different, and I don't remember if the display was green on the other one. I kind of think that it was. It's kind of interesting to hear that tone, though. It sounds much more like an older analog phone. You know, you really don't hear anything like that on these newer phones anymore. I remember these phones quite a bit. A friend had one. There was it was a bike and skate park that had one. Actually, that was interesting, because that place had this telephone, but it was paired with a very old, I don't know if it was AT&T or what the brand was, but it was paired with like a Lucent answering machine, you know, very early, probably from the 90s, and it was there up until the place closed. There's a Chinese restaurant around here that has a set of these in black, this dual handset model, and I don't see them use it too much, but they have a AT&T, whatever that model is, it's real popular, the white one with the acrylic buttons. They have one of those, and that thing, they've had it for, I want to say 5+ years, and that's the phone that they use all the time. And that phone is so worn out. I remember the last time I was there, it was sitting there on the counter, and I saw it, and it was just like, there was no coloring or anything left on any of the, all around, the whole plastic was worn. That was hilarious. But that thing was still working. I can't believe that thing is still working. And I think those are decent phones, but the number of calls at that restaurant, it's an excellent restaurant. They do a tremendous business there. That phone must handle hundreds of calls a day, and it's been doing that for years, and I don't know how it still works. Maybe they know about changing the battery, I don't know. I know that they don't put it back on the cradle every time. It sits on the counter all day, so maybe that use case just happens to work well, I don't know. But anyways, so back to these phones. This is becoming kind of a rambly video. Let's go ahead and set this up now. We gotta set the date and time. Let's see here. Set the date and time. It is 09/26/24, and the time is 6:49 a.m. So we got the date and time down there, battery icon. Let's see what the ringers sound like. Yeah, this definitely has a little bit of a different sound to it. It's still like a basic piezo, but it sounds a little bit more refined. they get a surprising amount of volume out of that ringer for what that is. I'm impressed by that. That's about it. There really is not any other settings on here. Ringers, date and time. We got language. Reset the voicemail icon. The key tone can be turned off. The area code can be set. Tone pulse. Language. That's it. Very simple phone. I actually happen to really like this model. I think this one and the VG101 that replaced it are both really good economy phones. They talk reasonably well. There's not a lot of features, but it does what it's supposed to do pretty well. We got a fine handset here on the base. It's working. Alright, so there's handset 1. Handset number 2 we're going to put in the living room by the computer, or not the, well, there is a computer, but by the audio equipment. I have a 1580 here right now, but I want to use this somewhere else. So we're going to move that. I actually want to put that in the studio, by the studio computer. I don't know how you're supposed to tell if this is charging. I guess the screen comes on. The battery icon is filling up. I guess there's no charging indicator at all anymore. I think the old one used to have a light somewhere at the top. Well, anyways, those are all set and ready to go. I'm assuming that they work. I suppose that's kind of a dangerous thing to do, but it's brand new in the box. The packaging was certainly never tampered with, so I think it probably has never been used and it's probably just fine. But I'll make a couple of test calls.